Starved Rock News, Talk, and Classic Rock. 1039 WLPO.
717 1039 WLPO. I'm Rod Thorson. Call or text on the WLPO Connexus Studio text line. Ultra fast, reliable fiber internet. Streaming your favorite shows at the speed of life. My good friend Bobby Riahi is live on WLPO right now. If you know that name, it's because he feeds a bunch of kids at LP High School. He's a chef and in charge of the menu and procuring and all the management of the cafeteria at LP. And I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years, mainly through his wife, who's a colleague of mine. And Bobby, it's good to have you on WLPO this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Number one, thanks for your work. I hear nothing but good things about how tasty it is, and I'm sure how nutritious it is from parents and others at LP High School. How many years have you been doing this now?
It's about 2.5 years. I've been at LP. I've been cooking professionally for 20 years.
Good for you. Well, you're an asset there. I guess most of us would assume that the job entails just serving up food to, what do you got, between 800 and 1,000 kids now? Is it more than that?
It's 1,200 kids, and
1,200.
we see a large majority of them go through the line.
Yeah, sure. Good for you. Well, we just got word over the last few days that the U.S. Ag Department is ending a couple of programs that started during the pandemic, and I guess you would have started around that time, right, toward the end of the pandemic, that provides about $1 billion for schools and food banks to purchase food from local farmers and producers. Were you using this program?
Yeah, since I started here, I've always been an advocate for local food, and I started here, and that was always a goal of ours for that program to use. We've been using it. We do about $1,000 worth of local purchases a month.
$1,000 of local purchases. That's in addition to everything else that comes through the big food service truck, I assume.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So it's a matter of the budget, too. You're not only cooking food and following the dietary guidelines and making sure it tastes great, but your job, in part, is to manage the budget.
Yeah, absolutely. The school food program has to be solvent. It's required by law to be solvent. So the local food program was very helpful to us in getting high-quality ingredients, healthy ingredients, that also was cost-effective and really helped our bottom line. So it's a shame to see it go away. Okay. So in addition to, I guess, you wear the chef's hat, but you're essentially what you are is a school nutrition director. I mean, you've got to... Yeah, now you got to brace for this. The rollback to this program, do you know where the status of it is right now? Well, we will have our funds through the beginning of 2026, and then they will be, I guess, cut off at that point. So I've spoken with ISB local foods representatives in Springfield, and they're not really sure what happens afterward, after January 2026. So hopefully we can touch base with local representatives and see if anyone wants to put them together. But right now, the funds are thrown out. So. Okay.
If you don't mind me asking, what percent, if you just want to guess, it's fine, but what percent of kids at LP would this be considered their only reliable source of good, nutritious food, what they get at school every day?
That's a hard number. We have, I think we're about halfway for kids that get free meals, free and reduced meals. So it's a fairly high number, but it's hard to determine exactly how many kids is their only meal. But generally speaking, lunch is the healthiest meal. School lunch is the healthiest meal kids are going to get throughout the day.
Well, the COVID era is over, but the USDA's approach to these nutrition programs is going to affect a lot of things. So you're able to utilize this program through this school year and maybe even next?
Yeah. So when we're planning out menus, we're obviously we're thinking now we can't necessarily look at sourcing 2 or 3 years from now. So we got to think, what can we do to stock up on some of these local foods ahead of time, and then what are we going to have to cut out? So it's pretty unfortunate, but it just requires some more planning at this point.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, in terms of the healthiest meal possible. I would imagine that's right up there at the top of the list of priorities, right? To have the healthiest meals possible. Yeah. What does that mean as a chef, as a professional in the business? Is it just mean the least processed? What decision-making goes into the healthiest meals possible, in quotations?
Well, there's two things, two kind of ideas that go into it. One, we have to meet state regulations and has to meet the state guidelines for what's considered a school meal. And then, we have to use our training to determine, is this the best thing we can serve the kids? Is it the least processed? Is it the best? Is it well sourced? Is it cooked well? You know what I mean? So all the safety components, and you have the state components, and you have just the quality components. And so the least processed, freshest meal you can make, and one that meets state regulations, is going to be the healthiest meal.
Okay. And you mentioned it's about $1,000 a month worth of local food purchases, and that comes from, I suppose, farmers. I know one of our good friends at Valley Fresh Harvest that grows the greens in Ladd, in nearby Ladd, is been part of this too. What does this mean to the individual farmer, producer, grower? I assume you've had some interaction with them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still, some of these farmers, it's going to be a hit. We're a small district, relatively speaking. So the bigger schools that have agreements with bigger farm co-ops and things like that are going to be more effective than we might be. So, I mean, I guess we're still going to use some of our local producers for sure, regardless of if we're getting the state's help on it or not. But, I mean, honestly, in the future, we're going to make decisions on, can we get this locally, or are we going to have to go to something else? And like I said, that's probably the most unfortunate part, is that you're going to see a lot less expansion of local foods into the school food system, unless, of course, Illinois steps in and does something. A couple of the states have made their own funds as well. So.
Yeah. Would it be harder then, absent this USDA program, I'm assuming it would be harder for a poorer school district to source local food without this program? It just makes it disproportionately harder on a poor district, whether that district's in the middle of the inner city or it's out in a rural spot. Absolutely.
And, some of these rural schools had an opportunity to give their kids, let's say fresh vegetables or fresh fruit through this program, and you're definitely going to see a lot less of that. I mean, I think there's a bad habit that people fall into about serving processed canned fruit all the time and not taking the opportunity to serve fresh fruit. And some of it's labor, some of it is sourcing, and now you're taking away one of those avenues for them to source that.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics. Again, appreciate your work at LP, and I know other schools, nutrition directors / chefs, are having to go through the same thing. Thanks for getting us up to speed on what's happening right now. Appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
This is Bobby Riahi. He's the nutrition director, chef at LP High School.